Hi Midnight fans, this is Midnight Myra. Welcome back. The story for tonight is XRP, to infinity and beyond. By Mr. Lights Out. Please enjoy XRP fans.
The XRP blockchain. The God Particle Protocols. Introduction, a destiny fulfilled through XRP. Take a moment to escape the constant ebb and flow of your crypto portfolios. The charts, the trades, the numbers, they're all part of the game, but what you're about to experience is far greater. This is not just about numbers on a screen or fleeting fluctuations. This is about destiny, your destiny. Imagine that every hour you've spent watching the market, every decision to sacrifice your wants for your needs, every dollar saved and invested in XRP, wasn't just a choice. It was your destiny unfolding. You were meant to be here. Each XRP token you've accumulated wasn't just a transaction, it was part of a larger proclamation, a reward for those who had the foresight to see beyond the surface and believe. You, the holders, are not just part of a financial revolution, you are living proof that destiny rewards patience, sacrifice, and vision. The countless hours spent working, making sacrifices in your daily life, cutting out wants, and focusing on needs, were not in vain. Every XRP you hold, whether you've accumulated it with your hard-earned money, or taken risks with savings you could have spent elsewhere, was destined to be. As you read these words or watch this video, reflect on your journey. Think about where you were when you first bought that XRP. Maybe you were nervous and unsure of the future, but you chose to take that step. You chose to believe, not just in XRP, but in your own future. And now, as the world shifts, so too does your place within it. You've taken part in something that transcends just finance. This is about transformation. Let me take you on a little journey, a journey into the world of imagination where our daily routines and monotonous days fade away. Imagine, for a moment, that we step out of the grind, just take a pause, let your mind wander, and embrace a fantastical dream. Picture a world not bound by the typical 9-to-5, but one that is shaped by XRP in ways we never thought possible. Here's a little escape from the ordinary, a future where XRP doesn't just power Earth's financial systems. Oh no! This is no ordinary financial tool. In this dream, XRP is the bridge connecting planets and galaxies, a universal key that unlocks not just economic trade, but the very way we live and communicate across the cosmos. Just imagine, no more waiting for bank transfers to clear, no more currency fluctuations or borders to cross. It's all instant, effortless, seamless. In this world, XRP is the digital heartbeat that powers intergalactic trade. A new kind of economy forms, one where resources are distributed with perfect efficiency, not just within countries but across planets. Imagine entire planets connected, like a cosmic web, trading in real time with no delays, no barriers. The very way we do business, how we communicate, and how we exist is revolutionized. And guess what? Here's the fun part, your investment in XRP isn't just a bet on some distant financial system. Oh no! It's much more than that. It's an investment in the future of civilization itself. You're not just hoping for your portfolio to grow, you're a part of shaping humanity's place in the universe. Pretty cool, right? So, as we chuckle and daydream about this bright future, let's take a step back. The day-to-day grind, the routine of working for the weekend, the never-ending cycle of trying to make ends meet, it can all seem like a bit of a blur. But imagine a world where that blur is replaced by XRP-powered futures, a world where your investments help shape the very future of the human race. Now, I know this all sounds like a dream, but doesn't it feel good to dream? To step out of the ordinary and envision a reality where we aren't bogged down by the monotonous? Let's let ourselves laugh about this fantastical future we're building together, and look forward to a future where XRP leads the charge in a way that will make today's struggles seem like small bumps in the road. The future is bright. The future is XRP, and it's already here, shaping something incredible. So, come along, take a load off, and let's dream big together. A future is waiting, and we're all part of it. Disclaimer, not financial advice. The information provided in this book, XRP, the XRP blockchain, the God Particle Protocols, is for educational, entertainment, and informational purposes only. It should not be considered financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. Cryptocurrency markets are highly volatile, and investing in digital assets carries significant risks, including the loss of capital. If you enjoy stories like this, know that Mr. Lights Out spends countless hours crafting these chilling tales just for you. We hope to earn your subscription tonight. Hit that bell. Now, back to the story. The dawn of digital integration. The year is 2025, and the world stands at the threshold of a financial revolution. Once seen as speculative digital tokens, cryptocurrencies have evolved into essential components of the global economy. Leading the charge is XRP, a digital asset created by Ripple Labs, faster than Beacon, more efficient than traditional banks, and destined for something greater. In the United States, major financial institutions, once skeptical of crypto, have now fully embraced Ripple's on-demand liquidity, ODL, network. The U.S. Treasury announces XRP as part of its official crypto strategic reserve, solidifying its position as the future of finance. Wall Street, initially resistant, soon follows suit as major hedge funds and investment firms recognize the liquidity and efficiency of XRP. The Federal Reserve begins utilizing XRP as a bridge asset for international settlements, making it an integral part of the new financial order. XRP's journey began in 2012 when Ripple Labs launched it to enable quick and cost-effective international payments. Early on, XRP's price fluctuated wildly, with many dismissing it as a niche digital asset with no real-world applications. At its launch, XRP's value was under 1 cent per token. Over the years, it rose slowly, peaking in 2017 at an all-time high of $3.84, capturing the attention of the cryptocurrency community. But by 2020, the value of XRP had dropped significantly to under 20 cents per token, due to regulatory issues and market skepticism. Despite its price setbacks, Ripple Labs' persistence in building its on-demand liquidity, ODL, network and integrating XRP into financial institutions worldwide began to pay off. By 2025, XRP was once again on the rise, slowly making its way back toward the $1.50 range. Major financial institutions had embraced the Ripple network, and XRP was quietly becoming the bridge currency of the global financial system. Why XRP outshines human-run systems. In Psalm 146 verse 3, the Bible warns, "Do not put your trust in princes, in mortal man, who cannot save." This verse serves as a reminder of the inherent weaknesses in human governance and systems. Governments, no matter how powerful they appear, are ultimately subject to corruption, political agendas, and inconsistencies in human decision-making. They are constantly affected by external pressures, be it economic crises, political shifts, or global conflicts, and often fail to provide the stability and fairness they promise. Now, compare that to XRP, which was designed with infallibility in mind. Unlike governments, which are influenced by the limitations of human nature, XRP operates on a decentralized blockchain that is governed by immutable protocols. Its processes are trustless, transparent, and automated, meaning there's no room for political influence, human error, or manipulation. Let's break down these key characteristics. Trustless. When we say XRP is trustless, we mean that transactions don't rely on a single authority or intermediary to ensure that they're legitimate. In traditional financial systems, we trust governments, banks, or financial institutions to verify transactions. These institutions have the power to approve, reject, or alter transactions, and they can sometimes make mistakes or act in ways that don't serve the people. In contrast, XRP operates on the XRP ledger, where each transaction is verified by a decentralized network of independent validators. No one can alter or reverse a transaction once it's completed, and no central authority controls the process. This system ensures that trust isn't placed in a person, a government, or a bank, but rather in the technology itself, a system that works automatically and with full integrity. Transparent. Transparency in the context of XRP means that every transaction made on the XRP ledger is open and visible to everyone, with no hidden agendas or secret dealings. Unlike government-run financial systems, where transactions can be opaque and subject to behind-the-scenes manipulation, XRP's blockchain allows anyone to verify and track the flow of funds. There's no room for corruption or manipulation because the records are public and immutable. This transparent nature of XRP ensures that its users can trust the system without fear of hidden biases, changing rules, or arbitrary decisions made by central authorities. Automated. Finally, XRP is automated. This means that its processes are carried out by predefined rules and smart contracts, which do not require human intervention. In contrast, traditional financial systems are often bogged down by manual processes, bureaucratic hurdles, and human decision-making, all of which can lead to delays, errors, and inefficiencies. Governments and banks often require human involvement in approving, processing, or altering transactions, which makes these systems vulnerable to errors, fraud, or mismanagement. XRP, however, uses automated protocols that execute transactions instantly and securely based on established rules, removing the need for human interference. This ensures that transactions are completed without delay, ensuring efficiency, accuracy, and fairness. Governments versus XRP. Governments can make promises of financial stability, but they are often weighed down by political agendas, bureaucracy, and flawed policies. Their systems are slow, easily altered, and prone to failures. The decision-making process in government-run systems is often centralized and vulnerable to mistakes, corruption, or political pressure. Their operations are not always transparent, not always trustworthy, and not always automated, making them less reliable than a system designed to function without human intervention. XRP, on the other hand, stands as a reliable, unchanging force. Its protocol cannot be altered by external pressures or the decisions of any individual. With trustless transactions, transparent operations, and automated processes, XRP provides a secure, fast, and fair financial system, free from the flaws and weaknesses of government systems. A financial future built on trust and technology. Just as Psalm 146 verse 3 cautions us not to place our trust in the fallible and inconsistent nature of human rulers, XRP offers an alternative, a system built on the immutable principles of decentralization, transparency, trustlessness, and automation. XRP represents a financial revolution that operates independently of government interference, with transparent, automated, and trustless processes that ensure security, efficiency, and fairness for everyone. In a world where traditional systems are subject to change, delays, and human error, XRP remains steadfast, offering a future of reliable, secure, and efficient financial exchanges that are free from the weaknesses of human-run systems. A shakedown and the testing of faith, the Gideon parallel. On that fateful Sunday night, March 2, 2025, when former President Donald Trump announced the formation of the Crypto Strategic Reserve, the XRP market saw a dramatic surge. The XRP maxis, those who had been holding XRP for a long time, celebrating the news, found themselves in a state of euphoria. It was a rare moment when the currency they'd staked so much on was receiving such high-level attention. However, this was not the final destination for XRP. It was a test, a divine shakedown, one that would separate those destined for greatness from those whose faith wavered. The price surge was substantial, but as in any trial, the gains were fleeting. Shortly after the announcement, the market pulled back, and the price of XRP started to stabilize, leaving many of the early investors disillusioned and uncertain. Many were shaken out of their positions. The XRP maxis, much like the uncommitted and fearful soldiers in Gideon's army, found themselves unsure whether they were truly destined for the victory that XRP promised. Gideon's trial in the Book of Judges 7. In the Book of Judges, Gideon was called by God to lead the Israelites into battle against the Midianites. Though Gideon was reluctant at first, he followed God's command, gathering an army to fight. But before the battle, God gave Gideon a strange instruction, to reduce the size of his army by testing his soldiers. God commanded Gideon to let those who were fearful or unfit for battle go home. As a result, 22,000 men left, leaving only 10,000 soldiers. But that wasn't enough for God. The test wasn't over yet. God instructed Gideon to take the men to a river and observe how they drank the water. Those who knelt and lapped the water like a dog were chosen, while those who bowed down to drink were sent away. In the end, only 300 men remained. These 300 men, selected by God, were the ones who would face the Midianites in battle and win, proving that faith and trust in God's plan were more important than strength in numbers. The XRP shakedown, the testing of destiny. The events surrounding the XRP surge in March 2025 mirrored this biblical trial. Much like the 22,000 soldiers who were sent away by Gideon, many of the XRP maxis were shaken out of their investment. The initial burst of excitement over the announcement faded, and the fear of the pullback led many to abandon their positions, unwilling to trust in the long-term vision. However, just like Gideon's 300, those who remained faithful and committed to the cause, there were XRP holders who chose to hold their positions despite the market fluctuations. Their faith wasn't shaken by the volatility of a single day, they saw beyond the short-term challenges, recognizing that the future of XRP, much like the victory that Gideon was promised, was in God's hands. A new kind of destiny, divine selection and purpose. For those who held on to their XRP during this shakedown, it wasn't just an investment. It was a divine calling, a destiny fulfilled. Much like Gideon's 300 soldiers who were handpicked for the battle, these holders were part of a larger plan, one that would lead to a cosmic financial revolution. They were not just passive investors, they were destined to witness and shape a new era of finance, trade, and intergalactic unity. Those who abandoned their positions, like the fearful soldiers in Gideon's army, may have been missing out on the true prize. XRP wasn't just a speculative asset, it was the key to a new world order, one that would be shaped by faith, trust, and belief in its power. The ones left standing, much like Gideon's 300, would be the architects of a future that would forever change the course of history. Destiny is more than financial gain. What's important to realize is that this isn't just about XRP or money. It's about vision, faith, and the fulfillment of destiny. The XRP maxis, who believed in the long-term potential of XRP despite the setbacks, are not just part of a financial movement, they are part of a larger narrative, one that will shape the future of human civilization and intergalactic trade. They are the winners in this grand experiment, chosen not for their timing, but for their commitment and belief in the greater good. The custodians. Just like the battle against the Midianites, the true victory for XRP holders will not be measured by the volatility of a single market surge, but by the long-term stability and transformation of the entire galactic financial system. And, as with Gideon's army, those who have faith in this journey, who trust that they are part of a divinely ordained mission, will witness the transformation that XRP will bring to the future of human civilization. As we stand at the precipice of a future filled with endless possibilities, we must reflect on our role in this grand cosmic plan. Just as Gideon's 300 were chosen for their courage and conviction, so too are you, the holders of XRP, destined to help shape a brighter future, one built on trust, decentralization, and unity across planets and galaxies. The 3 million XRP holders worldwide have been chosen not just as investors, but as the custodians of a new financial era. This group, now known as the XRP3M Ledger Custodians, has been entrusted with the task of guarding the integrity and promise of XRP as the cornerstone of a global and intergalactic financial system. The name XRP3M comes from the 3 million holders worldwide who have stood with XRP through its trials and tribulations, each of you playing a critical role in shaping the future of blockchain technology and financial decentralization. Just as the Templars of old were charged with protecting the sacred and valuable, the XRP3M Ledger Custodians are called to protect not only XRP's value but also its vision. You are the custodians, the guardians of this monumental revolution. The road ahead won't be easy, but it will be worth it for those who remain true to their purpose. As custodians, you are the chosen ones, the ones who will stand at the crossroads of humanity's rise to the stars. The XRP3M are no longer just investors, they are protectors, visionaries, and leaders, helping to forge a new era, one that connects galaxies and unites species, all through the unbreakable trust of the XRP ledger. The XRP revolution has only just begun, and like Gideon, those who remain faithful will lead the way. At the time, many XRP holders couldn't have known that this event was not the ultimate breakthrough, but rather a mere precursor, a warning or rehearsal for the real explosion that was yet to come. Asian power keg. Meanwhile, in Japan and South Korea, a frenzy was building. As demand for XRP surged, South Korean investors were willing to buy XRP at higher premiums on local exchanges, driven by intense demand and growing recognition of XRP's potential. Nearly 90% of South Korean banks integrated XRP ledger technology, transforming cross-border payments into instantaneous and nearly fee-free transactions. South Korea's largest stock exchange, recognizing the writing on the wall, began denominating foreign investments in XRP instead of fiat currency, cementing its role as a leading player in the global XRP economy. Japan, not to be outdone, quickly followed suit. The country, known for its forward-thinking approach to technology and finance, became an early adopter of XRP. Japanese banks rushed to integrate XRP's technology into their financial infrastructure, making it a pivotal part of their cross-border payment systems. Financial institutions in Japan began to embrace XRP-based solutions for not only global remittances, but also for everyday digital banking operations, boosting XRP's adoption even further. As South Korea and Japan led the charge in Asia, Singapore, already a crypto-friendly financial hub, quickly emerged as a key player in this movement. The city-state rapidly integrated XRP into its digital economy, making it the cornerstone of its blockchain-based financial solutions. Singapore's open regulatory environment and technological innovation ensured that XRP became deeply embedded into the nation's financial ecosystem, driving an influx of global investments and positioning Singapore as a centralized leader in XRP-driven finance. In the Philippines, even the poorest citizens were starting to embrace crypto, with XRP becoming a top choice for the country's second-largest crypto speculation market in Asia. Despite its struggling economy, the Philippines had found an outlet in digital currencies, and XRP was the gateway for many who sought to escape financial instability. It became not only a store of value but a means of financial inclusion, with many Filipinos investing in XRP to escape the limitations of traditional banking. With Asia taking the lead, the rest of the world was forced to take notice. XRP was no longer just an asset on the fringe of global finance, it was poised to become the backbone of digital economies across the continent, signaling to the world that blockchain-driven finance was the future. On the other side of the world, an event unfolded that would forever alter the course of XRP's future. Alessandro's faith and the miraculous rise of XRP. In the heart of a small Italian village, a young man named Alessandro found himself at the crossroads of his financial crisis. A devout believer in Saint Cajetan, the patron saint of hope, money, and employment, Alessandro had been struggling to make ends meet as his small business teetered on the brink of collapse. Desperate for a miracle, he remembered the age-old tradition that his grandmother passed down to him, the ritual of lighting a green candle while invoking Saint Cajetan's aid. It is said that Saint Cajetan, in his divine intercession, has the power to bring prosperity and hope to those in dire need. The green candle represents hope for financial recovery and the healing of one's economic struggles. Alessandro, with nothing left to lose, lit the candle in his humble apartment, murmuring the prayer as the flame flickered in the dim light. As the candle burned, a strange sensation washed over him, and he felt an inexplicable connection to the rising tide of digital finance. His phone buzzed, an alert from his bank, followed by another notification: XRP's value was about to skyrocket. The inexplicable surge in XRP's price seemed almost like a sign, as if Saint Cajetan, guiding him through unseen forces, had whispered in the winds of fate, connecting his life to the fortunes of the digital revolution. The strange events did not end there. As Alessandro dived deeper into the world of cryptocurrency, he noticed patterns. It's as if his humble prayers had summoned an ancient force that now intertwined with the present. Just as XRP represents the future of finance, Saint Cajetan's blessing seemed to be guiding him towards something far greater. This connection between ancient divine intervention and the modern revolution of XRP grew ever stronger. Alessandro's faith in Saint Cajetan pushed him to take a risk, investing his last savings into XRP. Within weeks, he saw a dramatic return. As the world embraced XRP and it reached the tipping point of global adoption, Alessandro's newfound wealth felt like a confirmation of the saint's divine favor. The world, however, was unaware of the secret that Alessandro held. While global powers grappled with the implications of cryptocurrency on traditional systems, Alessandro, like countless others across the world, began to see cryptocurrency not just as a financial tool, but as a spiritual force with the power to transform the very fabric of society. Just as Saint Cajetan can guide people toward economic salvation, XRP is becoming the key to unlocking financial unity across the globe. The United Kingdom, initially cautious, began issuing government bonds backed by XRP reserves, ensuring faster liquidity for public infrastructure projects. Brazil, the economic powerhouse of South America, adopted XRP for intercontinental trade, significantly boosting its economy. The European Union, after years of deliberation, announced the XRP standard, integrating the ledger into the Eurozone's financial backbone. The tipping point arrived in an unprecedented geopolitical event. North Korea, a historically isolated nation, reached out to the international community. Facing economic collapse, the regime chose to return all the stolen XRP it had hacked in previous years. In exchange, North Korea requested reintegration into the world economy, promising financial transparency under XRP's immutable ledger. The move sparked a democratic revolution. The country led to the birth of the Democratic Republic of Unified Korea, a nation reborn through blockchain transparency. As XRP surges forward, touching every corner of the globe, people begin to feel the weight of an era-defining shift. But not all are just passive witnesses to this transformation, some are pulling the strings behind the scenes. By 2027, every nation on Earth has integrated XRP into its financial system. Governments, once wary of decentralized assets, now actively leverage the XRP ledger for everything from public salaries to national budget allocations. Wars fought over monetary policies and trade imbalances become relics of the past, as XRP facilitates instant, borderless economic transactions. Humanity, for the first time in history, achieves financial unity. But what starts as an earthbound financial revolution is only the beginning of something far greater. As St. Cajetan's presence guides the lucky, a new force emerges, one that will bridge the divine and the digital in ways the world has never seen. The lunar encounter. By late 2027, the legal victory and XRP's explosive rise. It was in late 2027 that the long-awaited breakthrough finally occurred. After years of uncertainty, legal battles, and setbacks, the SEC dropped all charges against XRP, clearing the asset of any regulatory hurdles that had haunted its path for years. The decision was a victory not only for Ripple but for the entire cryptocurrency space. With this newfound legal clarity, XRP was free to operate without fear of regulatory interference. It was the moment that XRP holders had been waiting for, a vindication of their faith in the token and its future. In the same year, exchange-traded funds, ETFs, backed by XRP were officially approved worldwide, a monumental step for the asset's legitimacy in the eyes of institutional investors. The approval of these XRP ETFs allowed for greater exposure to the digital asset, as large financial institutions and retail investors alike flooded into the market, recognizing XRP as a trusted, stable asset within the ever-growing blockchain economy. The combination of legal victories, ETF approval, and widespread global adoption caused XRP to explode in value. From being a token that once saw bull runs to $3, $10, $40, and even $100, XRP's price skyrocketed to a jaw-dropping $950 per token. But this was just the beginning. XRP didn't just explode in value, it literally went to the moon. As the price of XRP shot up, something extraordinary happened. The XRP price surge reached the moon, not just in a metaphorical sense but in the most literal of terms. With XRP being used as the backbone of humanity's financial systems, the lunar colony became the first human settlement where XRP wasn't just a digital asset, but the very lifeblood of the colony's economy. The rise in XRP's price symbolized not just a financial victory, it marked humanity's leap into space, fueled by a cryptocurrency that had already rewritten the rules of global commerce. This new price was a far cry from its humble beginnings, but it was no accident. XRP had reached its true potential, becoming the cornerstone of not just the global economy, but the intergalactic financial system. XRP had not only brought humanity to the moon in a metaphorical sense, it had brought humanity to the moon literally, supporting the lunar colony's infrastructure and expanding its influence far beyond Earth. By 2028, Earth's financial revolution had stabilized under the XRP ledger, and humanity, fueled by XRP's unprecedented success, now turned its attention to the stars. With the global economy flourishing thanks to blockchain technology, SpaceX, supported by a broad international coalition of investors, launched Starship One, a groundbreaking mission to establish the first human colony on the moon, an endeavor that promised to mark humanity's leap beyond Earth. As Starship One, christened the Starship XRP Enterprise, descended toward the desolate, cratered surface of the moon, the crew of scientists and explorers prepared for a routine scan of the area. However, they soon encountered something entirely unexpected, a series of anomalous signals pulsing from deep beneath the surface of the Mare Crisium, one of the Moon's most ancient and enigmatic craters. The signals, unlike any known natural phenomenon, exhibited distinct, structured patterns. They were remarkably like the encryption seen in blockchain technology. The crew's initial skepticism quickly gave way to disbelief. The signals weren't random, they were deliberate, communicating in a language that suggested intelligence. The explorers, led by Commander Brad Garlinghouse Jr., realized with mounting awe that they were witnessing something truly revolutionary. Blockchain-based communication, but not of their own making. Someone, or something, had mastered the art of decentralized transmission long before humanity had even conceptualized it. As the crew continued their exploration, something extraordinary occurred. Mysterious light orbs began to appear above their landing site, flickering in the sky like celestial sentinels. At first, they seemed like nothing more than strange atmospheric phenomena, but soon the orbs began to move in unison as if watching over them. The crew observed the orbs closely, growing both fascinated and unnerved by their precision and movements. Hours passed, and just as the crew began to lose hope that the orbs would reveal any meaning, the lights flickered once more. This time, the phenomenon became more direct. One of the orbs expanded, glowing with a brilliance that cut through the lunar night. The crew's communication systems began to malfunction as the orb's presence interfered with their signals, but then came the unmistakable feeling they were being contacted. The orbs revealed themselves as messengers of Gabriel, the archangel who had visited the prophet Daniel in the Bible. The message delivered not through words but through synchronized patterns of light and energy, sent waves of realization across the crew. This was divine encryption, an ancient form of communication used to keep humanity from misusing the very technology they were now developing. The first interplanetary trade agreement. The Lunarians, an ancient and highly advanced civilization from the Moon, had been silently observing humanity's progress for centuries. Though they had seen many civilizations rise and fall, they had not made contact until now. Their decision to reveal themselves to humanity was not taken lightly, but rather, it came at a pivotal moment when they saw the true potential of human innovation, made possible by XRP. The Lunarians, despite their advanced technology, had one critical need: water. Over millennia, their lunar reserves had been depleted, and the once thriving Moon had become a barren wasteland. They now sought a sustainable trade partner capable of providing the life-sustaining resource they so desperately needed. When they observed the rise of XRP and the revolutionary financial systems it was enabling across Earth, they recognized a unique opportunity. The XRP ledger was the key to unlocking trust, and it was through this trust that the Lunarians finally saw humanity as worthy of an alliance. Humanity's ability to establish instant, transparent, and trustless financial transactions through XRP was a marvel to the Lunarians. They had been waiting for a species that understood the value of decentralization, the importance of fair trade, and the power of blockchain technology, all principles that XRP had embodied since its inception. As XRP brought the world together, bridging economies and facilitating cooperation, the Lunarians felt their trust in humanity had been earned. They saw that XRP wasn't just a financial asset, it was a symbol of humanity's potential to evolve, embrace a new era of cooperation, and create a unified future. The advances brought about by XRP, the financial transparency, the ease of cross-border payments, and the global integration of financial systems, were precisely what the Lunarians had been waiting for. With this newfound trust, they chose to reveal themselves, offering their technological gifts in exchange for Earth's help with water. To facilitate this interplanetary exchange, the XRP ledger was seamlessly integrated into the Lunarians' economic framework. The decentralized nature of the ledger ensured that trade between Earth and the Lunarians would be fair, transparent, and secure, a perfect fit for both civilizations. The first interplanetary smart contract was encoded directly onto the XRP ledger, officially marking the creation of the Lunar-Earth trade route. Water shipments began immediately, transported via SpaceX vessels equipped with Lunarian anti-gravity technology, making the journey swift and efficient. In return, Earth received the first-ever human-built anti-gravity transporters, which began production at an unprecedented rate. This marked the dawn of a new era in deep space exploration. A new financial paradigm. As the first successful interplanetary trade was completed, the world erupted in celebration. XRP's value soared, reaching new heights as it became the official medium of interplanetary exchange. Governments, corporations, and financial institutions around the world recognized that XRP was no longer just Earth's digital asset, it had become the first universal currency. The revelation that an extraterrestrial civilization had independently developed blockchain technology affirmed what many had already believed, that decentralization was the natural evolution of finance, and XRP was at the forefront of this cosmic shift. However, the success of XRP was not without its adversaries. Behind the scenes, a powerful group of financial elites known as the Beacon Maxis began to stir. These were the Beacon millionaires, many of whom had amassed vast fortunes in the early days of the cryptocurrency boom. Their wealth was tied to the rise of Beacon, and they viewed XRP and its decentralized ledger as a direct threat to their financial dominance. The Beacon Maxis had long been dismissive of XRP, claiming it was too centralized and manipulated by Ripple Labs. They feared that the rise of XRP, with its global financial backing, would undermine Beacon's pioneering legacy. Secretly, many of these Beacon Maxis began lobbying against XRP's growing influence, using their immense resources to orchestrate campaigns aimed at discrediting Ripple Labs and spreading fear about the blockchain technology powering XRP. They whispered in the shadows, attempted to turn public opinion against the technology, and even planted seeds of doubt within governments and financial institutions that had embraced XRP. The Lunar Encounter's legacy. The crew on the moon, meanwhile, was experiencing an entirely different kind of tension. The divine encryption they had received from Gabriel was clear: humanity had been entrusted with a tool that had the power to shape the future of interplanetary civilization. But with this responsibility came a dire warning. As the crew continued to receive visions from Gabriel, they understood that the use of blockchain technology was not without its consequences. The angelic visitations guided them, suggesting that the future of XRP and humanity's growth into the stars would require them to be vigilant, lest they fall into the traps of greed and power that had led to humanity's previous downfalls. In the background, however, the Beacon Maxis continued to work in the shadows, sowing discord, attacking Ripple's reputation, and subtly infiltrating the halls of power to ensure that Beacon remained at the heart of the world's financial system. But their influence was not without limits. As XRP's role in space exploration became undeniable, the Maxis grew more desperate, taking drastic measures to prevent the decentralized future from unfolding. Chapter 3: The Martian Exodus. By 2029, the dream of a self-sustaining Martian colony had become a reality. Humanity had achieved what was once deemed impossible. Not only had we reached Mars, but we had begun to terraform and commercialize interplanetary space travel. At the center of it all was XRP, the financial lifeline linking Earth, the Moon, and Mars. The Gravity Fleet arrives. With the help of Lunarian gravitational propulsion technology, the first fleet of anti-gravity cargo ships launched from Earth. Powered by interplanetary smart contracts on the XRP ledger, these ships carried thousands of tons of water from Earth and the Moon to Mars. With near-instant transactions between planets, XRP facilitated trade in real time, ensuring efficiency and economic stability. As the first colony ships arrived, SpaceX, the leader in interstellar logistics, became the face of Mars. Elon Musk's vision had finally come to fruition, an economy powered not by governments, but by decentralized digital finance. The first financial institutions were established. Mars Central XRP Exchange allowed colonists to instantly convert assets from Earth-based XRP markets into Martian credits. Soon, entire businesses, industries, and crypto-based economies began flourishing on the new frontier. Terraforming begins, the Lunarian contribution. The Lunarians, who had once hidden beneath the Moon's surface in vast hollow caverns, had now completely adapted to the Moon's environment. Over the past few years, with XRP-based contracts funding the transformation, the Moon has undergone radical change. What was once a barren wasteland of dust and rock had become a thriving silver-green world. Using their atmospheric engineering expertise, the Lunarians had successfully altered the Moon's ecosystem, creating vast, oxygen-rich biodomes that eventually transformed the entire surface into a livable world. Seeing the potential, humanity struck a historic deal: the Lunarians would be paid in XRP to terraform Mars. With their experience in atmospheric engineering, they began constructing massive planetary atmosphere generators, slowly releasing critical gases into the Martian sky. Over the years, the planet's harsh, red, barren land began to shift, the sky changed from orange to blue, the ground from dust to green. Water farming and blockchain replicated resources. One of the most astonishing breakthroughs was the introduction of XRP blockchain replicated water farming. Using advanced quantum blockchain technology, scientists discovered a way to replicate molecules of water at scale, exponentially increasing Mars' water supply. This process, recorded and verified via advanced blockchain mining protocols, ensured that no entity could hoard water. Every drop was transparently accounted for and distributed through the XRP water exchange. Massive water reservoirs were built, and with them came entire cities. New York City, London, and Tokyo, all names from Earth, were replaced with cities named after the pioneers of the cryptocurrency revolution. Skyscrapers rose in Ethereum Bay, massive blockchain research hubs opened in Solana Valley, and the financial center of the planet, XRP Prime, became the largest crypto-based trading hub in the solar system. A new home for humanity and Lunarians. With cities expanding, a massive influx of humans, Lunarians, and even other interstellar traders began populating Mars and its moons. Phobos and Deimos, once just barren moons of Mars, were transformed into floating space colonies where intergalactic trade agreements were signed. From the moon to Mars, humanity had become a true multiplanetary species, and XRP had become more than a currency, it was the universal economic foundation of the solar system. As Earth, the Moon, and Mars flourished together, the rest of the galaxy took notice. And soon, more visitors would arrive, not to conquer, but to join the XRP-led economic alliance. The Martian artifact, a revelation. During the construction of the terraforming sites on Mars, a groundbreaking discovery was made. Beneath a newly established colony, the crew unearthed an ancient artifact, a mysterious device embedded deep within the Martian soil. Upon closer inspection, it became clear that this artifact was not just an ordinary relic, but a manipulation tool for blockchain technology. The device, when activated, revealed a deep connection to interdimensional trade and quantum blockchain mining, indicating that the Martians once used blockchain technology to govern both their economy and their dimensional gateways. The artifact had the ability to manipulate blockchain protocols across dimensions, suggesting that the Martian civilization may have been in contact with other worlds or realities. The crew realized that this technology could be the key to unlocking Mars' planetary mysteries, but it came at a grave cost. Using the device could potentially destabilize the entire XRP ledger, risking not only Mars' future but also the interplanetary economy that had been established. Beacon Maxi infiltration, sabotage from within. As the Martian colonies began to prosper, not all were pleased with the rise of XRP. Beacon Maxis, the powerful group of beacon millionaires, saw their influence dwindling as XRP's role as the universal currency expanded. In secret, they began plotting to undermine XRP's dominance. Cyberattacks began targeting the Martian blockchain systems, and rumors spread of a false XRP ledger being created, one designed to create chaos and distrust within the colony's economic system. Unbeknownst to the colonists, the Beacon Maxis had infiltrated the ranks of Mars-based financial institutions and had taken control of key trading hubs. Using ancient Martian technology, they managed to create a false version of the XRP ledger, flooding the market with fake transactions and causing massive financial instability. The disruption caused widespread panic on Mars, with some colonists questioning the very foundation of their economy. As trust in the system faltered, a shadow war raged between the forces of XRP and the Beacon Maxis. Mars' future was at risk, and the crew had to act fast to uncover the truth behind the Beacon Maxis' infiltration. Lunarian Secrets, a hidden agenda. Amidst the turmoil, new revelations began to surface about the Lunarians. Their advanced technology and expertise in terraforming were undeniable, but whispers began to spread about their true intentions. Some of the crew members uncovered an ancient record that suggested the Lunarians had once been part of the Martian civilization. They had fled to the moon after Mars' downfall, hiding their secrets in the shadows. The Lunarians had long known the danger of tampering with dimensional technologies. They were aware of the Martian artifact's power and its potential to destroy the very fabric of the XRP ledger. Fearing the chaos that could ensue if the artifact was activated, they had hidden their knowledge from humanity. But now, with the artifact discovered, their role in the creation of the interplanetary ledger system became clear. The crew faced a choice: should they trust the Lunarians, or was their involvement in the Martian downfall a deeper, more dangerous secret that needed to be uncovered? The battle in outer space. As the Beacon Maxis infiltration reached its peak, the Lunarians and the Beacon Maxis collided in an epic space battle for control of the Martian artifact and the XRP ledger. The Beacon Maxis, desperate to retain control over the galaxy's financial systems, launched a massive fleet of ships to attack the Lunarians and destroy the XRP prime trading hub. In a stunning space battle that raged across the Martian skies, anti-gravity weapons clashed with Lunarian technology, while XRP-powered warships provided support to the Martian defense forces. The Lunarians, using their gravitational propulsion systems, retaliated with devastating force, crippling the Beacon Maxis ships and pushing them back. In a final, desperate act, the Beacon Maxis launched a doomsday device, intended to corrupt the entire XRP ledger. But just as all seemed lost, the Martian artifact was activated, its blockchain manipulating technology stabilizing the system and overriding the false ledger. XRP's true ledger was restored, and the Beacon Maxis plot was exposed. The Beacon Maxis' incarceration. Defeated and stripped of their place in the interplanetary economy, the Beacon Maxis faced an unforgiving ultimatum. They were compelled to return to Earth, but their future on the planet was anything but secure. North Korea, seizing the opportunity to expand its influence, stepped in with a grim offer. They proposed sponsoring the permanent incarceration of the Beacon Maxis in the Gulag system, framing it as a necessary measure to protect the world from their outdated, centralized financial systems and corrupt blockchain practices. For the Beacon Maxis, this was a fate far more daunting than anything they could have anticipated, yet one they had no choice but to accept. Meanwhile, North Korea had capitalized on the Beacon hack to accumulate over $1 billion in Beacon tokens, housing most of the Beacon holders on Earth within its borders as a means of control. For some of the Beacon Maxis, a different path was offered. They were given the choice to be incarcerated on Uranus, where the harsh environment and isolation would suit their antiquated paying system and obsolete blockchain technologies. On Uranus, they would survive, disconnected from the new era of decentralized finance and forced to live in their self-imposed digital exile, clinging to their old ways. The galactic joining. By 2055, the XRP ledger had become the foundation of a new galactic economy, an interconnected system that spanned not only Earth and Mars but reached across planets, moons, and even distant star systems. The success of XRP had caught the attention of alien civilizations across the galaxy, and now, they were arriving in droves to join the intergalactic blockchain network. With their arrival, a promise of peaceful coexistence and interstellar trade was sealed by the trustless, transparent, and efficient system of XRP. First contact, galactic unity through XRP. The first signs of this great galactic revelation came from deep space. A wave of signals, initially unnoticed, gradually grew stronger as the years passed. Alien species from distant galaxies, drawn by the power of XRP's immutable ledger, began making their way to Mars and Earth. Their messages were simple but powerful. They sought peace, prosperity, and a mutual exchange of resources, a future where the XRP ledger could be the backbone of intergalactic trade, connecting species from across the stars in a trustless, decentralized economy. Upon their arrival, the alien civilizations revealed that they had been monitoring Earth's progress for decades. They had witnessed humanity's rise through the cryptocurrency revolution, specifically the XRP ledger, and saw the potential for unification through this technology. The simplicity, security, and fairness of XRP were exactly what they had been searching for, a financial system that could bring together civilizations across the universe without the corrupting influences of centralized governments or monopolistic power. The arrival of the Erythians and others. Among the first to arrive were the Erythians, an ancient interstellar trading civilization. For centuries, they had isolated themselves after the collapse of their own trade system, a system that failed because of greed and centralization. But when they saw humanity's success with XRP and its decentralized, fair system, they decided to reach out, offering their advanced gravitational technology in exchange for sustainable resources, like water, a critical need for their dying lunar colony. With the Erythians came other species, each bringing their own technological advancements and resources. As XRP's network expanded, so too did humanity's relationships with these alien civilizations. One by one, trade routes were opened, space stations reactivated, and a new era of peace emerged. A promise of peaceful coexistence. For humanity, the arrival of these alien species marked the beginning of a new chapter. XRP had not only unified Earth's economy, but it now had the power to unite civilizations. No longer would planets fight over resources or trade imbalances. The XRP ledger provided the transparency and efficiency needed to ensure that everyone, from Earth to Mars to distant star systems, received their fair share. Humanity's reputation as a peacemaker and trustworthy trading partner spread across the galaxy. By 2055, the Council of Planets had been established, with Earth at its center, to oversee the fair implementation of XRP across all species. The Council ensured that intergalactic commerce thrived without conflict, building a future based on mutual respect and shared prosperity. The XRP ledger as a cosmic catalyst. The XRP ledger, now fully integrated into intergalactic trade, was seen as more than just a financial tool, it was a cosmic catalyst for peace and unity. As the Lunarians, Erythians, and countless other species adopted XRP's decentralized economy, the universe began to transform. Interplanetary trade became seamless, gravitational technology allowed for easy travel between the stars, and the blockchain ledger predicted and prevented economic crashes across the cosmos. Through the XRP quantum contracts, wealth and resources were distributed automatically, ensuring that scarcity was no longer a barrier for any civilization. This quantum blockchain technology brought an end to hunger, water shortages, and financial disparity across the galaxy. With the XRP ledger managing the galaxy's economies autonomously, chaos and corruption were prevented, and balance was restored to the universe. A new home for all, Mars as the galactic capital. By 2060, Mars had become the new economic capital of the galaxy. Towering XRP-powered financial hubs stood as symbols of unity and cooperation, as diverse alien species and Earth-based colonies worked together to build a new future. XRP-powered warp gates allowed for near-instantaneous travel between planets, and space elevators connected planetary surfaces to orbit without the need for fuel, further revolutionizing the intergalactic economy. With XRP as the foundation of interstellar trade, the financial balance was no longer in the hands of any one species or government. Mars and Earth stood as the hubs for cooperation, peace, and progress across the stars. A final message and the future. As XRP continued to power the unified galactic economy, a final encrypted message arrived from the edge of the universe. This message, encoded in the most advanced quantum encryption, was simple yet profound. You have restored what was lost. More are coming. The message was an invitation. XRP had evolved beyond just a financial system. It was now a universal force recognized by civilizations beyond our dimension. And with this newfound recognition, the galaxy stood at the threshold of an even greater future. More species, more technologies, and more opportunities would soon join the XRP network. A new journey was about to begin, but this time, it wasn't just about expanding across the solar system. It was about expanding beyond the known universe, with XRP as the key to unlocking the next frontier. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Be sure to come back for more stories.
Naki Sora here, imagine me, and even more stories. Like, share, and subscribe. Remember me, and lights out stories.